Are you still trying to awaken? Awakening cannot be done. It is not something that is gained or attained. It already is that which we are. The seeking mind is a masculine dominant five sensory energetic mind. The five senses that we are familiar with and as is a vibration and a frequency that allows manifested consciousness, that which we are, mind, to experience itself as at the level of the gross experience, as a separate self, as matter. Simply an experience. So we believe primarily that we are the body, we are a separate self, and that we live in a world that is outside of us. This mind does not perceive the truer reality of that which it is. That is how we have set this brilliant game up. The mind only experiences its own nature. That which it vibrates as is what allows for its level of awareness, and what it perceives, what it experiences, and from which it expresses. We are our very own playground. So when the mind is vibrating at the five sensory level, what are these five senses? Right? We know the eyes that see, the ears that hear, the touch, the smell, the taste. These are all outward facing. That allows us to have this experience of outside, inside, and inner and an outer dynamic. That's the dynamic of this playground, of this vibration. So that's why, as the seeking mind, I've shared my seeker's video. What this really means is the seeking mind is naturally seeking outwards for its answers, for the answer that it is, for the truth, the unnameable truth that it is. Natural phenomena. And therefore, when the mind is vibrating at this level, it experiences itself as linear time-space concept reality. That's the flavor. This time-space concept linearity is not outside of us. There's nothing outside of us. It is what we are at the relative level. Of course, it's always holding the paradox. That which we are as pure consciousness is beyond any experience. It's untouched. And at the relative level, right? Pure consciousness is primary, our true identity. But that which we really cannot say anything about. It's incomprehensible, it's attributeless, it's unknown, it's the unseen. That is appearing, simply an appearance, as the known, the seen. And what determines what is known and the seen is the mind. Shiva only experiences his living, his tasting, his sensing of his own potential as possibility through and as the mind, that is Shakti. They are one and the same. Shiva appearing as Shakti. Nature-wise, opposites. And that's why holding of the paradox. This is the conscious way of living. Right? So every mind is energy that allows for sensing. Right? It's so funny. The first time that this mind really dissolved and glimpsed into this, lived it, one would say, is that we are pure consciousness, but we cannot experience that which we truly are. Because to experience itself means Shakti, mind. So therefore, the nature of the mind is what needs to be looked at. It is the nature of the mind that allows for the sensing, for the seeing, for the experience of being. The third density, body, mind, world experience, that which we are very familiar with, living as a separate self, where we experience ourselves only as the five senses, naturally seeks, and because it is linear time-space concept. Its nature is to do. It is a process. That which we are, that's why we experience ourselves as a process. We age, we begin at a certain time, there's ending at a certain. All of experience is set in this dynamic. That's the playground that it becomes and it plays. And therefore, as a separate self, doing, efforting, trying is the flavor of its nature through which it experiences itself. Simply a phenomena. To live as a separate self apart from the world is to live as this personal doing, as a doer, that allows for the experience of as if I did, I being the body and the psychological I thought. This is a framework. It's a mechanism. Everything is inherent within that. The minute the mind is vibrating at this frequency, it experiences itself as these five senses. And therefore, awareness is as if it's only from this body. What I'm aware of is only what I touch, what I taste, what I see, right? What I hear. Then I believe that is reality. What else could it be? And then I see. Naturally, then the body is what I am. And then this I thought. All this is masculine. Thought only is the thought that we are familiar with. This personal narrating thought. This experience of this thought, psychological I, ideas, conditions, all is tasting of a masculine dominant energetic experience. Its flavor is concepts, objects, subject-object, separation that allows us to relate. Without this framework, this experience is not possible for that which we are. And it's natural, that's why, for the seeking mind, natural phenomena, as the mind starts to peak. That's why it's a time for celebration when we are seeking, because it's a peaking of that which already is. But the seeking mind, if it's still identified as a person, it does what it does. Phenomena. It cannot be otherwise. As a separate self, we have to do. It's through the doing that it experiences clarity. And therefore, when it is speaking and exploring this process of transformation and awakening, it naturally thinks, because that's its framework, that it needs to do to awaken. See this, depersonalize, allow for the seeing of this, that which is nothing new, that you already know and that which you already are. There is only one, the non-dual consciousness living. There's only one self speaking and hearing here. See that this is a natural phenomenon. When the mind is still predominantly tilted and identified still as the separate self. Because the separate self, to believe that we are a separate self, to believe itself, belief means we are as a thought, living as a condition, masculine dominant. So naturally, we will move to do. But the deeper truth is that we already are awake. Awakening cannot be done. If you're identified at the level of the separate self, at the level of the body, we can prepare the body. One may say at the level so that this seeing is available for the known mind. But actually, to be more accurate, the seeing of this, the realization of this is the dissolution of the masculine senses and the mind. That is why surrender. So that's why all practices are only, doesn't matter which one you pick, because it's only at the relative level of the body, psychological I, and the world that practice is needed. Why? What is the definition of practice? Linear time. We do something to arrive at something. All this is played at the level of the body. But every practice is leading us to only one space where this possibility of that which already is can be lived, can be seen per se, realized per se. That is surrender. Dissolution of the masculine is the seeing of the subtler, the feminine which was hidden till then. That already is. See, when we are vibrating at this gross level, we don't see the subtle, the hidden, the feminine. And the deeper part of the feminine, which is the paradigm shift of our awakened self. But of course, right, to directly see it, we already know. If we say, I am awareness, we already are aware. Nothing is possible. No experience, no perception, nothing is possible without awareness, that which I am, that which I am, that which all is. That can be directly seen, right? That's why even when we speak, we say, I am, and then we add things to it. Whatever we add to it is the play, the definition, the concept. I am this, I'm going there, I'm coming back from here, I'm going to do this. But the primary is I am. Without I am, nothing else is possible. And yet, even though this is the gross level mind, because it is linear time-space concept, it lives this as a past and a future. It never is present. It never lives as beyond time, like in the present. It naturally then thinks it is something that needs to be done. It thinks I need to awaken. Ultimately, this mind is not awakening in the sense that it is in the dissolution of this personal separate self that we see the truer mind, that which already is. And this is how the invitation here, to put it in so many words, is to offer the clarity that which we already are. To see that as long as the personal mind thinks it's something it needs to do and seeks as a separate self, it becomes its own obstacle to awakening, to seeing its awakened self, to being its awakened self. Right? The minute we stop thinking, we already are awake and aware. That's why the more we are in surrender, this truer reality, even a little time spent thoughtless, simply being, allows for the seeing of this, that which we already are. This is not something. That's why the words trying, striving, efforting belong as a valid play. I want to name that because in this world of spirituality, and of course this is not easily put in the language of duality, right? The mind that only interprets at the level of its own understanding. It really will naturally do what its own nature is. So this, as long as our primary identity is as a personal self, separate from the life that which we are, we will play the game of doing, personal choosing, personal striving, efforting, getting from one place to another, predominantly identified with the linear process and the time and space and the dance of concepts, that which we are vibrating as third density body-mind world. The invitation right now, because that is where we are energetically already, and no information reaches you accidentally or randomly. If you resonate with this, there is something that it only resonates because you're already that. It would not resonate otherwise. If you were vibrationally speaking very far away from it. So for the seeking mind, that's why. One is to hold both, right? It's always holding, it's the and. One is to see that such is the nature of the mind. It will seek. There's nothing wrong. This is simply phenomena. Something that has lived its momentum for such a long will run the course of its time. So when we are in that phase, we will move to do. And that's fine. We will seek. But allow yourself to also sit with this, to see. That is why to surrender, to be thoughtless, even if it's for short time, to be in that space to say yes to being open and seeing that even at the conceptual level, if you can really see that I am already awake. No need to insist and hold on to, I need to awaken, I need to, the insistence. If it happens, it happens. But to be, because it's through this relaxation, through this ultimate surrender, the path is through the I am. That's why every moment is, in that sense, perfect. It is only by deeply, unconditionally accepting where we find ourselves in every moment. And that's why the calling truly to state this clearly is that if you find yourself seeking and efforting, none of this is coming across to say that should not happen, but more so an invitation to see that is a natural phenomena that is happening. The mind that is vibrating in that will do, will seek, will interpret, will make meaning that I need to do awakening. That is why, if you've been exploring in this field, you may have heard so many times, awakening to our true self is not something we can make happen. It's grace. It does not happen at the level of linear time and space. It is the timeless aspect of us. This realization, this pivotal paradigm shift of awakening to our true self, enlightenment, self-realization, whatever names we may give it, because again, I want to be very clear, these are simply names. They are defined and mean different things to different minds, because the flavor of that is not static. They're different. There's a lot of nuances and depth to states of realization and enlightenment as well. But this paradigm shift of awakening and seeing, I am not this thinking mind, already is. In fact, that is the ground of being on which everything else dances. Nothing can be otherwise. So the invitation for the seeking mind, that's why, is to hold that. That's fine. As the personal mind, I'm going to seek, I'm going to effort, I'm going to strive. That's going to happen. But as you've heard that, this is a matter of grace, and I want to kind of really go into the depth of that. This is only a narrative of the masculine, gross level energetic mind that believes that it is a matter of grace. The truth is, we are the grace. We already are. It is worded like this because the seeing of the grace that which we are, the awakened self, realized self that already is, the enlightenment, the light that which we are, beyond duality, beyond the dance of the light and dark, the light, the eternal light that which we are, is not seen by the masculine mind. And as the seeking mind, this is why we seek, right? We seek because we want the mind that we are identified with, the five sensory knowing intellectual mind, to see it, to arrive to it. Okay, I awakened. I had that experience. And this is the subtler aspect of us. This is the feminine. She is the source. She is what we call as the hidden and subtle in relation to what? To the gross level mind and senses. Our insistence as the five sensory mind, saying, I want to know, I want to see, I want to be, is what is the obstacle. Nothing is happening. That which we are already is. It doesn't happen at the level of time, linear time. That's the beauty. That's why enlightenment does not happen to anybody. Awakening does not happen to anybody, although paradoxically, to the words that we use that is set in duality for the masculine realm of play and mind, it's worded that way. Self realization is not happening. Self is the ground. It is the only reality on which all the illusions happen or perceivably happen. Being is what is becoming, but the becoming, the basis of that becoming is the being. So that is why, for the masculine mind that insists, we say, it's a matter of grace. We don't know when that will happen. What that actually means, it's a matter of when it surrenders. Absolutely. And I really want to share this because we are currently at a very, again, relatively speaking, right? I want to hold both because the non-dual space does not play at the time, at the level of linear time space. It already is. Period. Nothing else can be said about it. At the level of this time and space that we're seeing, relatively speaking, we are right now going through a pivotal, transformational time shift. The year of 2023, and especially now, Dakshinayana, which is the time of, we are nature, right? There is no separate I from nature. I am, all is nature. So we can see that at least in the northern hemisphere, we're going into the time where we're going into rest again before the next cycle begins. That's why it's the sadhana pada, the time of practice for the one that is living its identity as a process. We're shifting through this, and every moment we're at that karmic shift, which energetically has already happened, but we're moving through that. And we're really called, that's why every moment is a choice point. We are the choice, but it's a choice point. And that's why the invitation, this Dakshinayana, to do the one timeless practice, if this resonates, that which we already are, being. The personal separate self I plays. It is the past. It carries the past, brings it into its present, lives that and projects that into the future. That which we are as reality simply is already complete, fulfilled. And from this space, the perceivable future unfolds. The I am determines the perceived all is. The outer is simply a reflection of the inner. When mind surrenders. Right? It's the dissolution of the illusion. The doer is an illusion, its doing is an illusion, and therefore at that level, surrender is an illusion. When we just simply are, we are clarity, we are wisdom, we are the being that is seeing, that is living. This is the invitation of this time, these times. And I really have to say it is instant and so much easier than ever before for many who question, as I shared this in the meditation, that we are right now, again relatively speaking, standing on the shoulders of the same consciousness that which we are, that has done all the work. At the collective level, we are ripe for this seeing and being. That's why the experiences of accelerated awakenings per se, the dissolution of the masculine dominant self, mind and the world is already done. That is what we are seeing in the world of the crumbling. The crumbling of the personal separate self and the crumbling of the outer is not different. One and the same. I am my world. The invitation to know thyself, to simply be, to hold this clearly, to be where and what we are. That's the way forward. To see that. When we are truly being, simply being, timeless, with whatever is, whatever we are, complete acceptance, knowing that does not really matter. I already am in that allowance, because that is what we are, truly, unconditional. Everything unravels. That's the invitation for the seeking mind. So you're trying to awaken, striving, seeking. See that that's fine. That'll keep happening. Holding this now. Seeing that simply as a thought, as a condition, and allowing some time and space to simply be. That's the call of the hour. Swadharma, Swatantra, Sarvamangalam. Every state of mind, being, consciousness is and simply lives and experiences its own nature. What am I? What am I? What am I? Much love.